The foundations. The 17 essential principles required for financial success as an interior designer. Hello, I'm David Shepard, President and CEO of Designing Profits, Inc. And it's my pleasure to bring you today the foundations. Over the past decade, in working with more than 1,000 interior designers, I've discovered 17 principles, philosophies really, that if you'll embrace them, I have no doubt will have a dramatic impact on your bottom line. Most of these philosophies are sufficient enough to give you an overview, but could require an entire course of their own. In fact, many of them do and will have courses within the business school. So consider this an overview, and feel free to dig as deep into each of these principles as you think worth the investment. The power of pricing. It's very important to understand that in business, not all numbers behave exactly the same. If you'll look at just the first two columns here, you'll see a simple business model. A mid-sized firm grossing $1 million in sales, with cost of goods sold of $500,000, operating expenses of $400,000, for a net operating income or pre-tax profit of $100,000, a 10% business model. But if this firm were able to creatively and strategically increase its prices by only 10% over the next year, something I've seen done countless times, then since the cost of goods sold would actually not change, nor would the operating expenses, then the net pre-tax profit would move to $200,000, increasing 100% on a price increase of only 10%. Keep this power of pricing in mind at all times. Every penny of price increase goes straight into your pocket. Well, yes, 10% is huge, but even 1% is huge. Keep in mind that in the big, wide capitalistic world out there, every outside force nibbles away at your profit margins, which in most cases for designers have already declined substantially over the past 5 years due to cost transparency and the internet, things we'll discuss in a moment. Customers naturally want to pay less, and with the recession recently, more and more want to pay less and less. That nibbles away at your profit margins. Suppliers want to charge more to recover their own businesses and their own losses of the past. Insurance companies want to raise rates. Government entities want to raise taxes and fees. Employees demand or perhaps even deserve more. But each of these, wanting just 1% here and 1% there, adds up to a huge and very frankly, potentially fatal number to your business. Price of gas, rent, 1% is huge. You must defend on all fronts, or the cumulative effect will wipe out your already precarious profit margins. If you want to take this 1 and 10% to the extreme, do the same math on this page that we did on the power of pricing. 10, 10, 10. I'm not saying this is always possible, but I just want to drive home the point of how small numbers make a huge difference. If you were able to increase your price only 10% and reduce your cost of goods sold, perhaps by buying more from fewer vendors by 10%, and decrease your operating expenses by 10%, in that case, your pre-tax profit would increase 310%, more than tripling on a 10-10-10 strategy. Before you say that's not possible, let me ask you, have you tried? Cost transparency, of course, has been front and center in the design world the last 5 years. As I mentioned, the internet, big box stores, many other factors have been at work. There are two defenses. Actually, there are many defenses, but two obvious ones against the ravages of cost transparency. One is to deal in unique, one-of-a-kind products, or I suppose we could even say processes. And two is to offer cost-plus pricing. We see more and more designers going this route, simply showing their clients the cost that they bear and then making a compelling argument for the value added that is their markup, or better said, their management fee. Move to the front of the bus. This is a concept I created a number of years ago at one of our conferences, and we've had quite a bit of fun with it since. What we did was create what's called a value chain. And again, this is something that requires much more time than we have in this brief overview. But the value chain was the process that was required before an interior designer got hired. And if you'll follow the arrows on the bottom row of, so let's say, flip charts there, you see that a raw project might have begun with a real estate agent, a land purchase, an architect hired, building plans drawn, builder selected, construction begins, and then maybe an interior designer is hired to come collect a few of the scraps left on the table from this particular client's budget. But what we've done is made a great effort over the years to move the interior designers to the front of the bus. Let them get involved with the client sooner when the client still has a bundle of money, before the real estate agent or the raw land or the architect or the building plans. Let the interior designer be instrumental in driving that process and begin getting paid for their services much, much sooner in the process. We've had designers with great success with this. Pareto's law. Every small business owner should understand the 80-20 rule. It's one of those rules that is hard to define but easy to describe. 80% of your clients take up all your time but only contribute 20% of your profits. Said another way, 20% of your clients contribute almost all of your profits. Or said another way, 20% of the people at the party drink 80% of the booze. Now you understand Pareto's law, also known as the law of the trivial many and the critical few. It's critical to understand that you must spend your time on the few, not the many. A photo map. This is a concept that comes from my 8 Steps series and 8 Steps book, all of which is available to members of the business school. The photo map simply states that you are at a certain position in your business, in your life now. We'll call that A. And your goal is to get to a future position. We could call that Z, and sometimes do. But under the concept of the photo map, it is represented by a visual of where you'd like to be in your life. This visual comes in 8 different key areas, everything from finance to lifestyle to health and fitness. Again, you can learn more about this in the 8 Steps program, which is available in the business school.